Hello and welcome to a speed build of my regal blood elf home that I built last week, and I promised a speed build on this, and here I am delivering that to you, maybe a little bit late, but yeah, a lot has happened and we have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. Tiny little note to the beginning here, the full item list is down in the description box, and also I included some item lists on the screen as well, but I had 13 hours of footage and I built a lot of things, so I was not able to add all of them. So I hope that this is enough and it was helpful for you, but yeah, check the item list down below. So I'm also going to be teaching you right now how to resize the pillars and walls, which you normally would not be able to do. So basically, instead of using the slider, which you cannot use when you are trying to resize a pillar, you use keybinds. So you can go and check your keybind settings and then you can change them to whatever you like. I think by default they're the bracket keys. And instead of the slider, you just use the keybinds to resize walls or pillars. It's that simple. And also you can see the keybinds you're using currently on the right side of your screen. It's showing there, so you can just check that and then you'll know what your keybind is. Also, as you probably saw, I made the staircase really easily by placing all the pillars down on the floor first and then lifting them up. Instead of just, rotating them up in the air, it would be much more difficult. This made it so much easier, honestly, to just make a beautiful symmetrical staircase. So I was very inspired by Silvermoon City and also Eversong Woods when I was building this, and there are areas also that were inspired by Ghostlands. I wanted to have this water feature in the middle, so I had this fountain that we got from the Midnight Early Access, and I just wanted to use that in something, so I decided this was going to be the time to do it. And I just did some custom modifications on it as well. I find Blood Elf architecture so beautiful, and I really wanted to just have all of those platforms, all of these levels in my build as well that you see in Silvermoon City or in Eversong Woods when you're just walking around and seeing different builds. This build is supposed to tell a story of the first time me and my sister played World of Warcraft together, and we were Blood Elves and we were just obsessed with Silvermoon City and Eversong Woods. The music there, the story, how mysterious it all felt, because we had no idea what had happened there. Like, we had no idea who any of the characters were. All of the buildings and everything, they were so beautiful, but like something had happened and everything was just horrible there. I just really wanted to sort of bring that sort of mystique to it. For example, I didn't want to just have a pillar in the middle. I needed it to look beautiful and tell a story as well. Like, I needed it to be the centerpiece of this build, so I added a little furnace at the top just to make it a little bit fancier looking, and yeah, I tried to really include little details here and there. So my focus really was making this build not for me but for my sister and for our characters 13 years ago. So it was really important for me to include areas that portray that. We have like our own interests. My sister really loves reading. I included a reading nook for her. I really like space, everything space related, so I added a telescope and all of these other things. I added a garden because I love gardens and I love gardening, yet I'm scared of bugs. And my sister really loves being outside, so I added that area for her as well. So everything needs to have a story. And then it also has the main story area where there is Onyx's head, because that's the first raid boss we ever went and defeated when it wasn't current content, obviously, and she got the mount. And then there's a map because we were lost all the time, so there's like these little areas with like items that have meanings to them and they all just tell a story. And honestly, it makes me really sad when people comment sometimes saying like, I'm not creative enough for this, or like, I wish I was good at housing, I wish I was good at building. You are. You just really need to find your inspiration. You can create whatever you want as long as you have your inspiration, it has meaning to you, and it's inspiring. Because I'm not building for myself whatsoever currently. Like, I've not built anything for myself since like the first build I made. This is all for just storytelling, and I am so inspired by other people's stories and my memories. So that's why I am building so many different things now. I'm just really finding joy from storytelling, the lore, everything around me, and that is inspiring me to build and get better at building as well. And I'm not saying that maybe your first build will be perfect or the way you imagined it exactly, but I'm saying that that build will have meaning to you. And that is why building is so fun to me, because all of my builds have some sort of meaning to me. They're my interests, or they're people who I care about, or just stories that somehow I relate to. Maybe just start out with a tiny little room, add something there that you find interesting, like get an object that speaks to you. If it's an object that you have memories about, for example, Onyxia's head, like if that was the first raid you ever did, that has meaning to you, it's your memory. So building from that makes it a lot easier than just you trying to come up with an idea. No, like just try and seek something that you care about, you're interested about, like a series, a movie, a book, or a memory, or a different game, anything like that. Maybe you have your favorite character from like a book series, just build something for them. I feel like that's something that's keeping a lot of people from building and sharing their work right now, and I just wanted to keep my 2 cents. No one asked for this. No one asked me to give advice, but I have gotten so many comments saying that they don't want to build because they're not good, and it makes me really sad. Anyway, I set myself a little challenge in this build, and that was to build as many custom things as I could. I wanted to have a lot of custom details for like platforms or windows and shelves and these sort of things, and I made these benches, for example, custom, so they are actually a table, and I put a pillow on top of them. And actually that's a fairly fun little hack as well. So sometimes actually chairs and such are more expensive than tables, so using a table and a pillow together will be still cheaper than actually just using a chair. It's kind of a nice little hack to make custom things, and also it will be more unique that way. And when making a really big build like this, it's actually really good to kind of keep that in mind, so that you're not just blasting your entire decor budget right away, but you are keeping your budget in check, and then it's going to be much easier going back to the rooms later on and adding more to it. But yeah, I actually wanted to talk about the color palette of Blood Elves a little bit, because it has been changing, I've noticed. There has been more of this like blue tone entering the color palette instead of the fell green color, and I noticed that some of the items have this bluish gem to it already, or it's kind of turquoise, I guess, and then some of them still have that green one. So for example, in the pre-patch items, the gems in those are still that fell green color, but then some items and also the walls in this Blood Elf style have a blue gem in them. Also, some of the transmog that they have released recently has had more of that like turquoise, teal color blue to it, and then less of that green color. So I wanted to ask you guys if you actually like that change, because I've seen a lot of talk online about people not liking it, and because they've gold, red, and green being so iconic. I personally also associate that very heavily with Blood Elves, so seeing it change is a little bit weird. I actually went back and I changed all of the gems to the green color at the end. I actually started out with them being that sort of teal blue color, but I just thought that 13 years ago it was green, so that matched more. But honestly, I kind of do like the blue color more, and I don't mind it changing that much. I just do mind the fact that some items don't go well together anymore, because some of them are blue and some of them are green. So for example, the pre-patched chairs don't go very well with the items from the early access, like the midnight early access items that we got. And in this context, it's very difficult not to mention Sims, the game who shall not be named, because they really had issues with color palettes, and they had to actually go back later on to fix that issue, because they added so many DLCs with different colors that did not match the original ones. And obviously the game is very old, so times have changed and different colors are trendier than back then, but they really had issues with, for example, wood colors being so different you could not match wood furniture together. And that is my worry with like all of these like Blood Elf items. You can see that some of the items are like more golden, some of them are more like this cool toned gold, and some of them are warm toned, and then also this whole gem thing being different, like sometimes they're green, sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're turquoise or teal. It's just kind of like inconsistent, and the dyes don't always match them either, so it's very difficult to combine them. But that might be just my Sims drama speaking. I'm just concerned sometimes that things don't stay cohesive and it's very difficult to combine these items, so yeah. But obviously if they add more dyes and such things, it's gonna be fixable if they make more items that can be dyed. We are currently now decorating the first outdoors room, and I'm really excited to have these day and night rooms because they bring so many new options for building. You can build so much higher than before, and it just allows people to be so incredibly creative. I've seen some incredible things built already, and I can't wait to experiment more with these. But for the first time, I just wanted to make it very simple, like make a little garden, and then I have the room with the magical willow tree, which I did not actually include in this speed build because I already made a speed build of it. So if you want to build that and you're wondering how, then you can check out that separate speed build. Here we are finally working on the bedroom, and as I showed there, I had platforms down there, and then I added a carpet and then the bed. And then there are some pillars going to the back, and I'm going to be adding some mirrors as well, just for some visual interest. And then here is what I meant with like putting custom details into everything. So I use these crates to do a tiny little trim on the platform so that it doesn't look so boring and jarring. So I just put those there, and I thought that it looks kind of violent, honestly, because imagine stubbing your toe on that. It also looks a little bit more elevated, if that makes sense. And yes, that was a pun because it's a platform. Anyway, if you see random people walking around in the house, that is because I was in the Homes of AZEROTH neighborhood. We had just moved there, and there were a bunch of people coming over and saying hi and just snooping around. It was so much fun. We were talking a lot. I had to cut off a bunch of conversations because there were a lot of people suddenly. Also, it gave me like the biggest jump scares ever because I was just building, I was in the zone, and then I would turn around and then there would be like Kaya or someone just like behind me, and then he would be like, hi, hello. But yeah, I just want to mention that if you are still looking for a nice little neighborhood for yourself, maybe check out Homes of AZEROTH because it's a lovely little Discord community that we have, and we have neighborhoods in NA and EU in both Alliance and Horde. I'm hanging out there all the time. I'm the neighborhood manager as well, so we really just have a good time. Everyone is so inspiring. Everyone's sharing their tips and tricks and pictures of their builds. It's super fun and it's a lovely community. Everyone's so positive and nice and just welcoming. So definitely check it out if you're still looking for a home. So we have finally reached the yapping part of this speed build. I actually went to Disneyland for my birthday, which was on the 30th of January, and it was super fun. I got to meet Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore and Tigger, and also I went to character dining where I met Pluto, Goofy, Mickey, and Minnie, and it was so much fun. The food was super good as well. I got autographs, I got some photos. Then the previous day, which was my birthday, we went to Pirates of the Caribbean to eat for my birthday dinner. They sang happy birthday to me with a cake. They just came from the kitchen and started singing, and I was like, what is this? Oh no. And I've always hated when people sing to me on my birthday, so I've always asked my mom not to sing for me, and then the entire restaurant was singing, so that was kind of fun. It was raining a lot that evening, so we were walking back to the hotel. It was pouring and my shoes were all wet, my pants were all wet, I had blisters on my feet, but it was still the best time. It was super fun and a fun memory as well. And I might have already booked another trip to Disneyland actually. I'm obsessed with it. It's so much fun. It's super inspiring also because I want to build some of the areas from there. Like, I would really love to give Pirates of the Caribbean a go properly, especially now that we have the day rooms and the night rooms, and I feel like the night room would be really cool for some of the scenes from there. But yeah, it was a really good time. I also got this birthday badge which said my name, and then people would see it, like the cast members would see it, and then they would like sing to me or like say happy birthday. It was super fun, and as someone who has not celebrated too much in my 20s, it was super fun to get to do it. And then yesterday I just came back from Finland actually because I went to visit my family. I had not seen them in a while. I did not see them for Christmas or New Year's or my birthday, and my sister also got engaged. So we just celebrated everything together, and it was a lovely time. I wish I had been able to stay longer because the winter there was like a proper winter. It was really cold. It was minus 24 Celsius degrees. It was just really pretty. I loved it. Like, driving there was so nice. Obviously seeing my family was super nice as well. Now I'm back and I have a very busy week coming up, and I'm very excited about it. Also, the Love is in the Air event started, and I'm going to be trying to get the mount again, as I'm sure many of you are as well. And then I'm just planning for midnight, the release of midnight. I really want to have some content ready to go for those who are starting their housing journey. It's gonna be super fun to make videos for people who have not touched housing yet and just give them all the tips and tricks. But for now, I'm super happy to just stay at home and build for a little while. I'm going to be making a lot of transmog videos as well for Valentine's Day. I have nothing planned until the launch of Midnight. I'll see if I can squeeze in some streams as well before Midnight comes out. Probably not this week because I'm really busy, but then the next week. And I was possibly thinking of also streaming leveling. I did a little test stream before I went to Finland and it was actually a lot of fun. So I hope to do more of that during midnight especially. But yeah, that's why there is a really strange banner on the bottom left, because I actually took this footage from my stream. I forgot to record it at the same time, so yeah, unfortunately there's a little banner there. I'm planning on doing some rep farming and just decorating, building, all of that on my stream, just grinding for resources, more of the cozy side of WoW on the stream, because I don't want to stream raids or Mythic Plus really. I usually do that content with my guildies, and to be honest, I just don't trust them enough to be on stream. I love them a lot, but they're kind of weird. Also, here is the sink that a lot of people were asking about in one of my reels that I posted, and unfortunately I had already deleted the sink and all of the footage before I could make a tutorial, so I included an item list there, you saw it a moment ago, and I'm showing just here on the speed build how I made it. I feel like it's super simple. It does not take that many items to make it look fairly realistic as well. And if you're wondering what those birds are flying around, that is from my helm transmog, which is called Forest Lord's Antlers. I've gotten a lot of questions about those birds that are flying around in my videos, and I keep forgetting to take the helm off. And last time when I took the helm off, I went to raid and I raided without the helm. So unfortunately the birds are gonna stay there as long as I like this transmog. I feel like I still want to make one big build before Midnight comes out, so I want to hear your suggestions for what kind of a build I should make. I've already made night elf style builds before. I've made a pirate build, I made a ship, I made a blood elf build now, I made a build from Vox Machina. So I'm trying to choose what kind of a bigger build I should do before midnight. I'm having a really difficult time deciding. I really want to build based on a story of some sort. I feel like I want to make this last build before midnight very special and sort of set the tone right before the expansion comes out. Now I'm working on the upstairs area, and I really wanted to keep the amount of plants very minimal in this build because I tend to put them everywhere in my night elf builds and cottage builds. So I had to get a bit creative since we don't have that many plants from Eversong Woods and that area, so I had to get a bit creative. So I made these little planter pots on the walls, and then I added these bushes to them. I feel like that made it look a lot fancier. The walls were just kind of looking empty and bare, so I feel like this was the perfect solution for that. And then I added some windows which actually were inspired by my friend Anea. I'm going to be linking her build down in the description box so you can look at the tutorial and learn to build it from there. She's so talented and you definitely have seen her builds before, and if you haven't, please check them out, she's great. I feel like having these fancy windows made the upstairs look a lot more fancy and just like polished, and I'm really loving using the trellis items for windows currently. It definitely gives it that elven feel, and it's just nice that they look a little bit more extra. In the end, I just went through all the different areas in the build and I just made sure that nothing looked super like empty, and there were a lot of like visually interesting areas. And for that I used mostly mirrors. I actually clipped some of them in the wall so that the mirror area would be hidden, and then I used the mirror as sort of a frame. I also added normal mirrors everywhere because I feel like blood elves probably would have that in their house, or many of them. And that's the finished build. I did not want it to feel too cluttered or maximalist by any means, but I did want it to have a lot of these personal touches to it. So I did want it to look lived in and like it belonged to our characters 13 years ago. I really love how this build turned out, and I hope that this speed build was helpful to you. I love using these speed builds as a way to also talk and yap a little bit, so as always, thank you for letting me do that. If you have any questions about anything that I showed on this video, please let me know and I'll try to answer them the best I can. And as a reminder, the item list is down in the description. I wish you guys a lovely week and good luck hunting the mount from the Love is in the Air event. I know I will need all the luck possible. My next video will be an exterior speed build of this house. I really love how it turned out and I'm in love with the Blood Elf exteriors. They're so good. But yeah, I hope to see you there, and until then, happy building! Also, happy Valentine's Day, and if you don't have a Valentine, just remember that in Finland we celebrate Friends Day, and I can be your friend. Okay, bye!